Don't tell me that my spouse's flaws are just the way men are, or if it's the woman on the other hand, you just say, that's just the way women are. Yeah. Are you happily married, single and searching, or single and not searching? You're in the right space. We're all students of life, and we're here to celebrate and explore the secrets of long-lasting relationships and marriages.
In each episode, we dive deep into topics like communication, family dynamics, parenting, finances, health, and wellness.
Join us on this exciting journey as we create stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling relationships, one episode at a time. Welcome to Life on Stereo.
Hello, people. Good to see you again in today's episode. And today, I think we have an interesting one for you. Thanks for sticking around with us. Thanks for always watching our videos and listening to our podcasts on all the channels. Thanks for engaging as well. And we do hope that today will be another interesting one for you. Yeah. Let's get chatting. Let's get talking.
Yes. But first of all, I want to ask, where are you watching us from? Let us know in the comment section.
Yeah.
Which country, which city are you watching us from? Are you married? Are you single? What's happening? Let's know. Okay, so today it's going to be juicy. And we really want you guys to tell us what you think as we go, okay? As we're bringing it up, because it's going to be... Today we're going to talk about don't tell me that. So there are a lot of things that people throw at married people. Today is the married edition. So single people, we got you, okay? But today, let's focus on the married couples. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that people throw at married couple, things they say at us. So today, we're going to say, don't tell us that. So the first don't tell us that is, don't tell me that marriage should be easy if you're with the right person.
So basically, we haven't rehearsed this ahead. Yeah. So just to know, so these are things that very popular things that people say, but may not necessarily be like that, right? Okay. Yeah.
So already, this means that there is an assumption
that this is supposed to be.
Yeah. So in this context, then there is an assumption that if you're with the right person, marriage should be easy. Fine. So is that the case?
No. No.
Is it an outright no?
I think so, because you may be with the right person. He might be, the perfect fit for you in terms of you can find someone who complements your character, you complement each other, you fill in each other's
your goals,
and so on.
Your dreams,
at the end of the day, marriage is work.
Marriage is work.
And work is not easy. So it gets easier. I think marriage gets easier.
That's good.
With time, you get to know the nuances of it. You get to know how to deal with things, how to live with people, and so on. But by all means, it's work. It's not easy just because you find the right person. And I have heard this statement quite a lot as well. Like, as long as you find the right person, you're good to go. Everything will be fine. If I have that mindset, I'm just leaving room for disappointment, and so
that is so. So now I'm looking at it in two ways. If I'm thinking that so long as I find the right person, my marriage will be good. Yeah. Then you go into the marriage, and this, in quotes, right person, you're seeing the person's flaw, and you're like, no, it's not supposed to be like that. So you're like, I need to find my exit.
Yeah, exactly. So,
because you assume that if you find the right person, then it's going to be easy.
So if there's something wrong, then obviously it's not the right person.
Yes.
So that can be...
And on the other hand, when you're single and you say, I need to find the right person, you might be thinking, I need to find the perfect person, flawless. But then you might paralyze yourself with indecision.
That's
about choosing your partner. Right. So I like what you said, that it can be easier with time with the right person, because the right person again is someone who has your your core values, you have values together,
Yeah.
your dreams, you have things together, you're willing to learn from each other, grow through and grow with each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Next one. So
what are they saying?
what are they saying? Don't tell me to just communicate better as if it's a magic fix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because think about it, like, for instance, I am a proponent for communication, and then for me, when I say communication, I'm just talking about like talk about it. So it would be fair if you guys are throwing jabs at me and saying, Judith, you talk about communication way too much. But bear with me, communication is important in marriage, like really, really like a cornerstone, right? However, it's not the magic fix that so far as you are talking about the issues are fixed.
No.
You could be talking about the issues, but there are many other things that may be happening. For instance, if there is an issue that has come up in the marriage and then you are talking to your partner, you're talking to your spouse, babe, this is what is going on. We need to talk about this. We need to find a way around this. But one, maybe the person is not even willing to do anything about the situation. So even though you're communicating, there is unwillingness on someone's part to make a difference, right?
Yeah. And I mean, you can find someone who communicates really well, and we see this in politics. We see it.
Promises.
We see like people who are really good at communication.
Yeah.
They communicate properly and so on, but they don't put the action to it when it comes to it, right? So the fact that I'm always like I'm open with you, I'm telling you everything, and I'm transparent with you, but if we discuss things and then I don't put them to action, or if we discuss things and you don't put them to action. For example, if we discuss our budget and say we are going to spend one CD or $1 the whole of this month, and then you go out and you shop for $2, so that's obviously tells you that then other issues arise, right? So communication, for sure, we need to all get better at communicating, but it's not the solution to everything. I definitely agree with that statement. Yeah.
Okay, good. This one you will like. It says, don't tell me that having kids or children will save or strengthen our marriage.
Yeah. Don't tell me that, for sure.
Already off the bat, this children issue is a touchy subject. To even be bold and tell somebody, you need to have kids. Well, I have to be nuanced, right? Maybe you have that kind of relational equity to be able to say that on a very light note, like maybe this is your friend, like okay, is it Charlie? You guys need to have some kids, right? But then to even tell a married couple that you need to have kids, please, for the love of God, steer away from that kind of conversations unless you know what's going on, and like I said, because there may be so many things happening in the marriage, right? So that is one. Stay out of that conversation, okay? Leave the married people alone. They will decide.
Yeah, exactly. And that, having kids will make the union stronger and so on. I don't really think so. Kids are a gift from God.
Yeah, definitely.
There are ways that children may strengthen the bond of the union, may give you more things to do in common.
When it comes I like that,
to like doing things with the kids and so on. But then on the other end, there is that part where the kids could actually end up taking too much of the attention. Like the father might be too focused on the kids, and it actually can get to a point where if you are not careful, everything that you discuss is about the kids. Anytime you call, after say some don't even say like how are you doing? They just go like how are the kids doing? if like I'm on a trip, I've traveled out of a city or the country or something, and then I call you, the first and I go like, how the kids eating, are they asleep and so on. It starts to bring the couple starts to drift apart. So the kids, when they come in, extra attention or extra care needs to be taken to ensure that they bring all the positive stuff and they don't create any other things that we don't want in the union.
Yeah, I like something that you do sometimes when we are taking pictures with our kids. Sometimes we tend to let the kids, I think we did see this from like a marriage counselor or something. He talked about it, and so you've been prompting us to do that. Like when we're taking pictures, sometimes we don't let the kids stand in between us. We stand by each other, and then the kids stand
one on each side.
on our sides, right? So definitely kids are a wonderful gift, joy and all that, but then they are not the key to strengthening the marriage, right?
That's right.
So
that's right.
Okay,
What's the next one?
Yes. The next one. Don't tell me you knew what you signed up for whenever I vent. So it's like anytime I start to vent and I start to tell you maybe something that is making me unhappy or something I'm dealing with, you're like, or something you have done, you're like, don't tell me. You knew what you signed up for. You knew who who you were marrying.
Yeah. And that's I think that statement I've also heard people say that, and a lot of people also say, these things we discussed them, or while we were dating or courting,
Didn't you know?
You saw that I was like that, I was like this, and now you're complaining.
Yeah.
I mean, how about you also try to fix those problems or those things, try to work on them to get better at. So yeah, definitely. Well, there is also the other side where I feel like I think we might have to do like an episode on red flags and stuff like that, because people do actually see the signs. They see clearly that this lady is like that, this guy is like this, but then they are blinded by love, and then
hopeful.
they are
Maybe.
hopeful that they will change.
Yeah.
And then when they get into the marriage, and after a year or two, they are not changing, they start to complain. So that's where you get that kind of statement where you knew what you signed up for, you knew I was like this, you knew this is what I do, and so on. And the part where I would not agree with the person saying that is if it has to do with things that are not at the core of who they are, if it has to do with things that could be like some character or something, habits that they can easily deal with and work on. But yeah, by all means, I think on both sides we have to all be.
Yeah. And what I was even thinking is that, for instance, maybe you were getting married to someone and maybe a friend, your closest friend says, don't marry this person because of so and so, this and that. And then you go ahead, right? And then maybe a few issues are coming up. It might even deter people from sharing what they are going through. Because they are like, if I tell this friend of mine this, if I tell my parent that this is, they will tell me to my face, you knew who you were marrying and you went for it. So even though we make mistakes, I don't want to say mistake, but then we make mistakes, but there is room to grow. So let's have grace and have room and be compassionate towards each other. And then for the spouse also, not to say that this is how I am, I'm not changing, you know how I am.
In these things,
we need to grow, we need to evolve, we need to be better, and we need to be better for ourselves and for each other.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, next one.
What do we have?
Yes. Don't tell me to never go to bed angry. And well, this is classic.
I say it quite a lot though.
Yeah.
And it's biblical, right?
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
Because again, you're saying it's biblical. So especially for people who grew up in the church, like we all know scripture says that, well, don't let the sun go down on your
anger,
on your anger.
Yeah.
But then I like the other one. Maybe not. I'm favoring the other scripture about anger that says, in your anger, do not sin. Right?
Okay.
Because don't let the sun go down. If you take it literally like that it's meaning that before the day is over, let's get this issue dealt with.
Which, talk about it at least.
Yeah, which of course I I agree with. But sometimes you need to give the person some space.
I mean, yeah.
You need to give the person time, right? Because, see, I'm going to use myself as an example. There are times when I am upset. I need time to calm down. I need time to process what has happened. I need time to talk to myself. And sometimes, if I respond in the moment, it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be kind, right? So I'm like, I need to take time. And as I'm thinking about what I probably would have said, I'm like, this is not so nice. This is not so kind.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I get that room to breathe, and then I think through what I probably would have said or how I would have reacted initially, it helps me do better.
Yeah. I guess it's better to sleep over it and, let 24 hours or so pass before talking about it than to quickly discuss it if you think you're not in that frame of mind to discuss it. And scripture or the Bible saying, don't let the sun go down on your anger.
Yeah.
I feel we could take it literally or not. Just to say that, talk about it or try to address it as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. That I agree. Let's address what the issue is, what the grievance is, as soon as possible.
I mean, I had heard a friend of mine said his mom and dad were not talking to each other for like 2 years.
2 years.
I'm telling you, like there are and for this guy. No, hang on. It was the friend was a female, so he was saying his boyfriend or the guy he was involved with had this kind of thing with him where when an issue comes between them, he goes for like 2-3 weeks, like he will not call you, and when you call, he doesn't pick, and so on. So then it was later she found out that this guy, that's what he's used to.
That's what he's seen.
Yeah, that's what the parents do, like 2 years. And you know what, some of these things, sometimes when you don't address them as soon as, but that's why I'm all for addressing them, like max that same day or the day after. It shouldn't go beyond that, because then the tension begins to rise, and it becomes harder and harder for one person to break the silence. So and for that 2 years example I just gave, probably a week or so, and then 2 weeks, and then obviously when that happened, they just moved into separate rooms because they were blessed to have a lot
multiple
of rooms in the house, right?
When you don't have any,
when you have
multiple rooms, you have to sleep in the same room.
If you have just like 2 bedrooms and one is for the kids and one is for you, and then in that case, you obviously would have to sleep in the same room. You can shift to your side of the bed, but by all means, while you're lying down, one person will roll and their hand will hit the other person. So you know that for sure you need to deal with this. You are in the space of the person. Yeah. So that's just by the way. But
go ahead.
No, so I'm just saying it's important to address it quickly, really.
And that I subscribe to the addressing quickly, because in my own experience, I have learned that it's better to address it quickly, because when we got married initially, and my temperament and my personality is such that I tend to brood over things for a long time. I tend to keep things here and not talk about them, right? I have grown over the time, but I remember that initially when we got married, like when something happened, very little, but because I brood over them, and the more you brood over them, the bigger it looks to you, and the deeper you feel the hurt. And that is why I think that it's important to talk through it and address it quickly so that you don't give it root.
Yeah.
Because the longer you let the hurt remain, it gets
deeper.
deeper and deeper, and then it takes good, and it becomes harder to even address it and talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah. I
So
think that's
yes.
an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Don't tell me that my spouse's flaws are just the way men are, or if it's the woman on the other hand, you just say, that's just the way women are. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen people come out of relationships and make that like general, and that's like spouse. This one says spouse, but even people go into relationships and then they are, unfortunately they are faced with certain challenges, or they experience certain character traits from the person they were in a relationship with, and then they tend to generalize and say all ladies are like that, all men are like that, and then they carry that baggage. Even when they decide to go on into another relationship, they still have that in mind.
Yeah.
And then that becomes, a problem, or that really affects the next person. Trust me, all men are not the same, all women are not the same. People are different, people have different experiences, exposure. People have, grow up in different environments and so on. So, whatever in a spouse situation, it's not like you can move on that easily. It's important that you get it addressed. If you need some counseling to take care of it and so on. All men are not like that. All women are not like that, for sure. It's something that can be dealt with.
And something I have heard, especially from the culture that we come from, and maybe decades and decades down the line, there used to be a thing like, men maybe married multiple women. It was very common. And or they would have families outside their known families or their legal families, and then later along the line, years go down, and then maybe either the man passes or grows old, and then they find out he has family elsewhere, and then the elders will say, as for men, Bema de in our parlance, they say, Bema de says, like, sow your oats. So sometimes that is like a way of, when we stereotype certain behaviors, it's a way of not taking accountability for our actions.
Yeah, exactly.
If the actions are wrong, right? So we say, instead of saying that, okay, I'm sorry for doing that, I acknowledge that I did wrong and I take accountability for it. What can I do to earn your forgiveness, and how can we heal and grow and move forward?
Exactly. So definitely people hide behind some of these expressions and do things. So it shouldn't be. There shouldn't be that.
Of course, we have like natural proclivities or inclinations as men and women. We're fashioned in different ways. So that is, but if it's a wrong habit or a wrong trait or a wrong action that you have portrayed, don't hide behind like our frame to say that this is how we are. And okay,
are we almost there?
We're almost there. Okay, don't tell me to keep the spark alive like it's my sole responsibility.
Are you telling me?
I'm not telling you. I'm telling all of us. I'm throwing it to all of us.
So she's trying to act it out like the person would say it.
Exactly.
Life, So you go first.
Like we said, we've said it 1,010 times that marriage is what a two people affair. It's two people involved in this institution, and so it's not one person's responsibility. So maybe if you are not feeling the spark for some time, life happens, stress, fatigue, a lot of things happening, and you feel like the spark is not sparking. Don't throw it on one person that, babe, you're not doing anything. You're not.
Yeah.
Rather say, what can we do, babe? Like, for some time, I feel that we can work on our connection a bit more. Like, what can we do? I suggest you can come with suggestion. I suggest we do so and so and so, but don't throw it on the person and say, you said you're the room. Especially if maybe when you were dating or courting, you said you're a very romantic person, or you're very, in touch with those things, but the person is lagging behind. It's still the two of you in it, right? So say, how can we do this? I'm not feeling our connection recently, so how can we spark it up, bring suggestions, and then move forward.
Definitely, it's everyone's responsibility to keep and well, you see this and in our culture especially, they would usually tell the woman to keep the fire, burning in the marriage and so on. But
let me take this opportunity to say something.
Okay.
So in that case, like sometimes, for instance, like if you get married, you're growing, life happens, baby's coming, okay, the woman's body is changing. Usually it's only the woman that is looked at, that you've let yourself go. Meanwhile, I say this often, that usually it's the woman that has gone through a very life-changing process that has affected their body physically and in every other way. The man usually hasn't, well, let me not say usually, hasn't given birth, but then they've also changed in their appearance and in their physiology. But you don't even see a lot of women say it, vocally, that you're not in shape or something. But a lot of women feel that from so let's support each other, right? If you feel that, just by the way, if you feel that your partner, has gone through some things and life is just happening, encourage yourselves to, pick it up again and, do what will make each other happy. Right.
Should we take the last one?
Yes, let's take the last one. Okay, so don't tell me that other couples have it worse, so I shouldn't complain. That's a good one, right? Yeah.
Well, the truth, well, on the flip side of this, by all means, don't tell someone that. You should never tell someone that. Oh,
none of these.
It's don't complain because other people have it worse. But on the other hand, when you hear what other people are going through, sometimes you tend to appreciate what you have. Some of us don't appreciate what we have until we get to know what other people are going through, and this may not be people close to you. It may be just stories you hear about marriages and some of the challenges people go through. Then you realize that it seems and usually comes with a good side. Then that, so it's my man or my wife is
really good,
and so on. And by all means, don't tell someone,
don't complain.
It could actually be worse. See these people, they are always fighting and so on. At least we are not fighting. Definitely, let's always try to be better, right?
And in saying that, of course, you don't want to say that because sometimes when you say that, then you might invalidate what your partner is feeling and trivialize their feelings and not actually work on it, because you think that this is nothing, like these people are even experiencing much worse. So definitely appreciate what you have and validate each other's feelings and point of views. Yes. Any other comments, thoughts?
No, I think it's interesting. Because these are like very common things. I'm sure some of you will relate to some of these statements. These are statements that we just searched online to see what people usually say, and some of them may sound a bit cliche, but they are quite relevant, and you might have already heard it from your spouse. So let us know in the comment section,
definitely.
whether you've experienced some of these statements, or even if you have some
What you
other
think.
don't tell me that statements. Let's discuss them in the comment section. Let's get interactive.
So remember, this is the married edition. So today we talked about things that married people are usually told or say. So next time we will do the singles edition. So look out for that.
Yes.
So if today's episode has been any good to you, anything you heard that is useful, is worth sharing, worth discussing in your home, do share this with other people. This is the way that you can support what we do. Is by subscribing, is by liking our content and sharing with your friends and family. If you're listening on audio, like podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, whether Apple, Spotify, wherever, do well to leave a review, because that's the way that this podcast can be recommended to others as well. Once again, thank you for joining us today. I am Judith. This is
Kingsley.
And we will see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Live on Stereo. We hope you found our conversation insightful and inspiring.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, share, or leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us.
Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. See you in the next episode.